Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, how are you? How are you guys? I hope you are fine and you have enjoyed your Eid. Today we will start with the last lecture of demography that is very much included in your test. Demography is one of the very important chapters of your community medicine fourth year curriculum because it always contributes to your paper. At least one SEQ is made from this. It is a very easy chapter and the concepts are very easy to grab, yet things are conceptual and you need to listen to the lectures, attend the lectures, and read the book. Now, we were discussing demographic transition in our last lecture. That was abruptly finished due to some technical reasons. So I need to resume from where my lecture finished. I was about to discuss demographic trap with you. Now, as we had discussed, that demographic transition refers to the high rates, that is high birth rate and high death rate, that changes to the low death rate and low birth rate. Thus, thus population size initially increases and then it decreases, and sometimes it goes into negative balance. It starts decreasing. So what is demographic trap? Demographic trap is the trapping of that population or a community in the condition where the death rate has decreased subsequently, but the birth rate does not continue to decrease the way it should have decreased. Thus, there is population growth, consistent population growth, rather population growth explosion occurs in that period, and birth rate does not further reduce the way it should have reduced in a classic demographic transition model. So the birth rate has continued to increase due to increasing population, and death rate decreases due to better medical facilities. There is reduced infant mortality, there is reduced under 5 mortality, there is improved geriatric health conditions. So life is prolonged, there is more chances of survival past an average age. There is an increase in the dependents, and the population increases substantially. And during that phase, if it doesn't enter into the reduction of birth rate phase, demographic trap renders a population to exhaust its resources. Nowadays, even Pakistan is considered to be in demographic transition because birth rate is high, death rate has reduced, and the population is increasing. So there will be an increased burden on the ecological resources. Now, one more concept is that is of demographic dividend. Demographic dividend refers to the state when you have a larger quantity, a larger proportion of persons in youth. Among youth, there are less dependents and more independent individual who can put in their what you call energies and put in their services to the economic growth of a population. So that is known as economic dividend. Demographic dividend. Now, dependency ratio refers to the under 15 population plus age group above 65, age group between divided by age group people in the age group 15 to 65. And population density is population to the land ratio. Now, population to land ratio is high in urban societies and it's low in rural societies. Now, you also need to know about the push factors and those factors due to which urbanization occurs. Now, if I ask you, okay, what are the reasons people migrate towards cities? So what are the pull factors that cities have? They have better economic opportunities for the people. They can come here for joining jobs and doing businesses. Secondly, improved health facilities are present there, improved educational facilities are present there, improved infrastructure as far as lifestyle is concerned, that is better. These are the pull factors. And what are the push factors? Push factors are lack of educational and health facilities, lack of economic opportunities in those areas, rural areas, etc. Plus, there are social discriminations going on regarding caste, regarding feudal lord systems over there. Some kind of social injustice may be a reason to push people from living in rural areas towards going to urban areas. So these all are the reasons for urbanization. Now we start with very important topic, that is fertility. Fertility rates differ by social variables, differ by religious groups, for example Muslims, Catholic Church, and the use of contraception. They differ by social class. Lower classes tend to have higher fertility. Differ by region. People in rural areas tend to have higher fertility. And differ by country. People in poor countries usually have higher fertility rates. Now, fertility rates can be affected by public policy. Some governments pressure couple to have fewer kids, like that of China. Other governments encourage them to have more. For example, in Central European and Southern European states, where they are giving incentives to the couples who are producing kids. Culture, religion, and contraception, etc. Some religions, like Muslims, they believe in having higher fertility, higher number of kids, because they find it good that Muslim Ummah will grow like this. And contraception, in older myths, it was considered that it is against religion. Now that has clarified by Muslim tariqs that religion does not hold back from doing contraception to avoid unwanted pregnancies. All right, economics are very important, because expense of having kids in the industrial versus agricultural societies is different. In agricultural societies, having more kids is more favorable, because एक खेत से सबके लिए खाना आना होता है, तो that is not an issue. बाकी having more kids mean more workforce to work in fields, while in industrial societies, where you have to groom a child through proper schooling and all that, it is expensive to rear a child. So people living in industrial societies, they think twice about having more children as compared to the ones who are living in agricultural societies. Technology, it affects a lot. Now, what are the factors which have engaged attention of demographers since long are discussed in my following discussion. Now, age at marriage is one of the most important factor to decide fertility in a society. Those societies where marriage is done in early ages, in lesser age, in younger age, fertility is more. Then duration of married life is usually more in eastern cultures, in eastern societies, because a girl is married at a younger age. And then marriages, thankfully or fortunately, are durable in eastern cultures. There are lesser divorce rates as compared to western cultures, so that couple spend years and decades of their lives together, thus leading to higher fertility. Spacing of the children is also important. If first child is postponed and second child is spaced, then fertility reduces. But if number of children, number of births, the births are not spaced intellectually and wisely, fertility increases. Education, there is an inverse association between fertility and education status. Education provides knowledge, increased exposure to information and media, builds skills for gainful employment, increases female participation in family and decision making, and raises the opportunity cost of woman time. So if that is a very telltale kind of thing. You can just look around yourself, that even in our societies, those people who are willing to get themselves educated. For example, like you guys in your class, you will be involved in MBBS and then house job, then you will decide to marry, and after marriage you will, if you will have one kid, you will postpone the next kid till you have done your post graduation, or you will postpone even your first child till you get postgraduate training done, so that you can easily rear your child and you do not have pressures of your own education and your own career growth. So in that case you will postpone your childbearing, or space your childbirth wisely, so that it has inverse relation with fertility. On the other hand, those women who have decided not to go for career growth or professional education, they'll just do BA and get married, and then they will have 4 children in next 5 years of their marriage. So this is the difference, and this is how the fertility is regulated, if and the difference between educated and lesser educated class. Now, economic status again, fertility is higher, as we have already discussed, in lower economic stratas as compared to the ones with higher stratas. Caste and religions, Muslims have higher fertilities than Hindus, and Catholics have higher fertility than those who are non-Catholics in Western cultures. So nutrition appears also to have inverse relationship with fertility level. Those who are poorly nourished, they have higher fertility as compared to the ones who are better nourished. So it all goes with because nutrition is also directly related to economic status and education. So it might be giving a spurious what you call association, but the fact remains that it is associated with it. Indirect association, but the fact remains that this has also shown. All right, and then we have family planning. It's another important factor in fertility reduction. In a number of developing countries, family planning has played a key factor in declining fertility. And then we have other factors like widow remarriage, value of children in the society, breastfeeding, customs and beliefs, industrialization and urbanization, better health conditions, housing opportunities for women, and local community involvement. These all factors play quite a significant role in deciding about fertility. All right, then we have some fertility related statistics. This is very important that we should take very good view of these fertility indicators, because they are either asked in short answer questions or MCQs. So the first and the foremost rate with us is birth rate. Birth rate is total number of live births during the year divided by estimated mid-year population in 2000. This gives us birth rate. Now then we have general fertility rate. It is the number of live births per 1,000 women in reproductive age group, that is 15 to 44 in a given year. Now this rate is better than total birth rate, because it gives a better idea of the fertility among the fertile group. सही है. अब इसमें है कि number of live births in an area during the year divided by mid-year female population age 15 to 44 in the same area in the same year. General fertility rate is a better measure of fertility than the crude birth rate, because the denominator is restricted to the number of women of childbearing age rather than the whole population. The major weakness of this rate is that not all is known in the denominator are exposed to the risk of childbirth. Now in forthcoming indicators we will move towards the better indicators that will better define the fertility in a population. Then we have general marital fertility rate. Now this refers to the number of live births in a year divided by mid-year married population in the age group 15 to 49. Now this has further improved the general fertility rate, which in the former that is general fertility rate The risk of childbirth, exposure to the risk of childbirth is not equivocal, because it has not taken into account the factor of being married. But in general marital fertility rate, this factor has also been taken care of. And then we have age specific fertility rates. A more precise measure of fertility in age specific fertility rate defined as number of live births in a year to 100 women in any specified age group. That will give the for example, the women in 20s इनका क्या fertility rate है as compared to the one in 30s and as compared to the one in early 40s. Now age specific marital fertility rate, now here it differs with the fact that the denominator contains age specific women that are married. ठीक है. And then we have total marital fertility rate. Total fertility rate represents the average number of children a woman would have if she were to pass through her reproductive years bearing children at the same rate as the woman now in that each age group. ठीक है. It is also a very good rate, but its calculation is a little difficult, so you might not be asked to calculate total fertility rate, but you need to know the concept of what is it. Then we have total marital fertility rate, that is an average number of children that woman would be born to a married woman if she experiences the current fertility pattern throughout her reproductive span. Then we have gross reproduction rate, average number of girls then that would be born to a woman if she experiences the current fertility pattern throughout her reproductive span, that is 15 to 44 or 49 years, assuming no mortality. And then we have net reproduction rate. Net reproduction rate is defined as the number of daughters a newborn girl will bear during her lifetime, assuming fixed age, fertility and mortality rates. Now then we will also have children to women ratio. It is the number of children 0 to 4 years of age per 1000 women of childbearing age. Then we have pregnancy rate. It is the ratio of number of pregnancies in a year to married women in ages 15 to 44. And then we have abortion rate, that is the annual number of all types of abortions usually per 1000 women of childbearing age. Then we have abortion ratio, that is the number of abortions during a particular time period divided by the number of live births over the same time period. Now marriage rate, it is the number of marriages in a year per 1000 population, that is number of marriages in the year divided by mid-year population into 1000. Now demographers consider this a very unsatisfactory rate because the denominator is comprised primarily of the population that is not eligible to marry. A more sensitive rate is the general marriage rate, that is number of marriages within a year divided by number of unmarried person aged 15 to 49 years. Now with this we have covered our fertility. The rates we have just discussed are very important because your external examiner is very fond of asking the definition or even formulas of these rates. So I will suggest you guys to cram these rates up. You should have read the definitions and you should learn them by heart so that you may not fail upon answering the questions if they are asked from birth indicators, fertility indicators rather. Now we will also discuss literacy. What is literacy? Literacy is ability to write and read any language with understanding. Crude literacy rate is literate divided by total population, and effective literacy rate is literate above 7 years of age divided by total population above 7 years of age, because under 7 years of age you do not expect a child to write or read effectively any language with understanding, right? Now we have epidemiological transition. This refers to the change in disease patterns, mostly from infectious diseases to mostly chronic and degenerative diseases. Now the point remains why do we need epidemiological transition? We need epidemiological transition because it is not given in your book, but it is seldom asked in your MCQs or your short essay questions. So you need to have the concept of epidemiological transition. What is epidemiological transition? Epidemiological transition refers to the pattern of diseases. Initially, we used to have infectious diseases, and now we have more chronic degenerative diseases like cancers, heart diseases, stroke, disease, diabetes, arthritis, etc. etc. Now, measures of mortality. Now, infant mortality rate, neonatal mortality rate, post neonatal mortality rate, IMR, etc. You should learn its definitions and you should be knowing about it. I will be discussing in detail the maternal mortality ratio with you. Now, maternal mortality, what is the rationale for use? Complications during pregnancy and childbirth are a leading cause of death and disability among women of reproductive age in developing countries. The maternal mortality ratio represents the risk associated with each pregnancy, that is obstetric risk. It is also an MDG indicator, Millennium Development Goal indicator है, और अब तो हमारे पास SDGs हैं, that is Sustainable Development Goal. What is the definition? सबसे पहले हम maternal death को define करते हैं, because maternal mortality, maternal death जो है वही इसके न्यूमरेटर में होती है, तो पहले इसकी definition को by heart देख लो. Maternal death is the death of a woman while pregnant or within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of the duration and site of pregnancy from any cause. In duration, respective to duration, for example, 6 हफ्ते की भी प्रेगनेंसी है और कोई ऐसा कॉज है जो कि प्रेगनेंसी की वजह से हुआ है या प्रेगनेंसी की वजह से एग्रीवेट हुआ है, तो वो मैटरनल डेथ ही कहलाएगी. मगर अगर प्रेग्नेंट वूमन जाते हुए रोड ट्रैफिक एक्सीडेंट का शिकार हो जाती है, तो इट विल नॉट बी कॉल्ड एज मैटरनल डेथ. The cause should be either pregnancy, directly pregnancy, for example placenta previa है, placenta से hemorrhage हो जाता है, antepartum hemorrhage हो जाता है, कोई इन्फेक्शन ऐसा हो जाता है, या फिर कोई ऐसा कॉज जो कि प्रेगनेंसी की वजह से एग्रीवेट हुआ हो, जैसे हाइपरटेंशन है, डायबिटीज़ है. Or its management, but not from the accidental or incidental causes. To facilitate the identification of maternal deaths in circumstances in which cause of the death attribution is inadequate, a new category has been introduced. Pregnancy related death is defined as death of a woman while pregnant or within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of the cause of death. ठीक है, pregnancy related death होनी चाहिए. All right. Now, live birth refers to the complete expulsion or extraction from its mother of a product of conception, irrespective of duration of the pregnancy, which after such separation breathes or shows any other evidence of life. For example, beating of the heart, pulsation of umbilical cord, definite movements of voluntary muscles, whether or not the umbilical cord has been cut or the placenta is attached. Each product of such a birth is considered a live born. Now, data sources are vital registration, health services record, household survey, census. Alright students, with this we finish with our discussion of demography. This part is also included in your test. You should prepare well. Tomorrow we will meet for the test. Khuda Hafiz, inshallah.